Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runaway, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey, Omari, thank you for having me back. As always, love doing this thing. It's my favorite thing in the world, trading things back and forth, broadening our horizons, not going back to the usual thing. We've said it before. I'll say it again. In this sea of so many choices, I often find comfort in just grabbing the life preserver of the thing I've seen 50,000 times.
Staying on my own island.
Yep, it's great. It's great to broaden, expand those horizons. But enough about me, because we have a special guest today, right?
That's right. Both of our horizons will be widened today as we have on a guest who has joined us before, one and only, especially in time for spooky season, Mr. Horror himself, as far as the network is concerned.
Yeah.
Main man, the icy one himself, Fluffles.
I'd see before Fluffles for his second and a half appearance because I fell horribly ill on the day we were supposed to record Tokyo Gore Police. And I will forever regret that. I fell in love with that movie on my first watch, and I was just like, I need something with more talking points than Malignant. I've got an idea.
It's a pretty incredible movie.
They might not like it.
You're bringing that one to us.
But it starts with a chainsaw and a katana fight, and then it turns into like a police schoolgirl like painting with a chainsaw.
And a chair.
I think they'll be okay.
Just like 2 days ago, maybe a day ago, I was preparing to organize a time to watch this film that we were about ready to talk about, and I mentioned that it was the same guy that brought us Tokyo Gore Police, and then she was like, Tokyo Gore Police? She's like, I don't know if I watched that one with you. Did you not watch that with me? It's the one. Oh God, how do I describe this film?
It's the one that takes place in Tokyo. It focuses on the police, and blood is spraying from every corner of the screen every second of the runtime.
Yeah,
except for the one scene at the brothel.
For some reason, I decided to go with the description of, if I say the word chair to you, does that mean anything to you? And she said no, and I was like, okay, like a chair. She was like, no. And I was like, okay, then I don't think you've seen this movie. I guess in hindsight, I could have just been like, it's in Tokyo, police, like a neo-apocalyptic kind of future landscape. But no, for some reason I went chair.
It's even better for the people who haven't seen it and just hear us talking about this.
Yeah.
You can go check out our review of it on the channel.
Tokyo Gore Police.
This week we got
the title is just Chair.
I mean, it was a good 10 minutes of our hour-long conversation.
Fluffles said there weren't any hostile scenes. That was. I think the arm at the beginning was the most hostile-like scene of just her yeah. I don't think we're here for Tokyo Gore Police.
Yeah, but it's like it's that like B movie. Like you could kind of feel the latex of everything.
Oh God,
yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's
the feel of the movie, the tone of the movie was completely different.
Yeah,
too.
Right. Again, everything around Hostel's body horror is garbage.
Yeah.
So like if it was a
Only
really
a lot.
interesting film, I feel like we talked about the potential of like if it just focused on if it was just like a story about
Yeah.
the world, because the concept that not to do a mini Hostel episode now, but like the concept that Eli Roth came up with of like a network of these things and like the system in order to trap these victims there, and then the system of advertising this possibility to the ultra elite and like the world of the ultra. I would much rather see an interesting movie about that rather than just like four dicks are
Yeah.
backpacking through Europe and let's watch them get murdered.
And we're supposed to empathize.
It's kind of funny. They sort of do that in Hostel too,
Okay.
but it's still not a good movie. It's technically more interesting, but
Yeah.
it's still not
Pass on that.
good.
Fair enough. But you know what
It's-
may be good? What you brought us this week. And I believe this week you brought us a recent one, 2022's. Oh, go ahead.
Everything I see was like came out in 2022, which maybe it came out in Spain in 2022, but everything I'm seeing about the date is all it also says 2024, so maybe it just gained a like worldwide release in 2024. Either way, it gained traction on like Reddit. I heard about it in 2024. And I watched it earlier this year and it blew me the crap away. I rank movies out of like a 5 out of 5, and like 4 or 5 movies get a 6 out of 5, like that I've ever seen, and this got a hard 5. On a second watch, I think like one thing at the very very end bothers me just from a like I would have rather had this happen, but God, I love this movie.
Yeah, and that movie is 2022's The Coffee Table.
The Coffee Table. Jesus and Maria are a couple going through a difficult time in their relationship. Nevertheless, they have just become parents. To shape their new life, they decide to buy a new coffee table, a decision that will change their existence. It is written and directed by Kay Casas, and also written by Christina Borobia. And then it stars David Perea and Estefania de los Santos and Joseph Maria Riera. So you kind of started to break that. Anything else you want to touch on why you brought this one to us?
So real quick, I kind of like swore you both to not secrecy, but like I sort of slid you a envelope that was like all you can look at is the name on the envelope, but you can't look at anything inside, because that's kind of how I was presented to it. Like Omari, you did. Bill, did you see Cabin in the Woods when it came out?
When it came out,
Yes, like in theaters.
no. It was definitely a DVD watch for me.
It came out in theaters, and it was like, it looks okay. I mean, I'm a horror guy. It looks fine. I'll probably see it near the end of the streaming, or near the end of its run in theaters. And then the word of mouth hit, and everyone I knew that like horror movies were like, no, Fluffles, you have to see this movie. Why? What's it about? You have to see this movie. No, I can't tell you. And The Coffee Table is a very different movie, but it was the same kind of hush hush, mum's the word, I can't tell you. I knew nothing about The Coffee Table going into this movie.
Yep.
I had a feeling it wasn't going to be the same kind of meta film that Cabin in the Woods was, and all I knew about it was that it was called The Coffee Table. And my one concern when it was like, crap, it's a Spanish movie, was not because it's a Spanish movie, but with foreign, especially horror films, there tends to be, maybe not tends to, but there can be a lot of like allegorical meaning behind horror films that you just might not catch, and you'll find yourself missing a lot of deeper and maybe even shallow meanings. And if there was anything here, I don't feel like I missed anything at all. And I got to tell you, oops, all allegory kind of movies are the worst kind of movies. Anything that like you take out the allegory and it doesn't make any sense. Anything that you have to be like, oh, well, you have to read this and sudden, or you have to know about this, and oh, it's like it's all allegory. Have you seen Mother? Darren Aronofsky's movie, Jennifer Lawrence.
It
I am not.
mini scenes. It like played
It's all
in the
about the
background
Bible.
of a hangout one night.
Well, it's all allegory and it's garbage
Yeah.
because it's all allegory. You take out the allegory and it's garbage. Do you know what isn't garbage if you take out the allegory? Godzilla. Do you know what isn't garbage if you take out the allegory? The X-Men. Do you know what isn't garbage if you take out the allegory? Lots of things. And I love those things so much. And if you have allegory, explain it in your movie. Don't make us have to come in knowing these things. Or make me leave having to feel like I have to do extra research or reading. Or make me feel stupid for not knowing this.
Yeah. Not a fan of the what is it, the hidden box? What is the J.J. Abrams treatment?
Hidden box?
The black box?
His writing theory. It's
Oh boy.
is about leaving something in your story plan completely unsolved, even by yourself, to allow your audience to fill it in.
And like foreign films, that's not just a like foreign film problem. That's not all allegory, but like there are movies. It's happened with oh crap, Del Toro. Guillermo Del Toro's done it with like some of his earlier works, where there's movies that happen at times when this country's in a civil war, and the movie's about that, but we just don't understand that because we don't have that context for that historical event going on, and it's that kind of thing. And I was really glad that I didn't miss anything here. At least I didn't feel like I missed anything here. Very thankful to have that going on.
Little did you know, it's about alcoholism.
Ah, crap.
Correction on my statement a moment ago. It's the J.J.
Yes.
Abrams mystery box theory.
Oh,
and that is
okay.
essentially he thinks that you should show your audience a box, tell them that there's something important in the box, but you don't even know what's inside that box.
So it's not J.J. Abrams. It's a Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fiction briefcase.
It's a briefcase.
It's not J.J. Abrams.
Maybe he was the one who named it.
Maybe. But yeah,
I guess became popularized in his Lost series.
But because I came into the movie not knowing a thing about it, I didn't want you guys to know that, like, oh, it's about a couple and their new baby. Because until a certain shot in the movie where it became clear that something was going to happen, I was like, oh God, now what? Oh God, now what? Oh God. Oh. I had no idea what was going to happen. And I loved that.
yeah.
But the one thing I did tell you guys, because I'm not knowing the tone of a movie going into it doesn't bother me. It really bothers some people. And I wasn't sure how you guys really felt about that. So I was like, I'll at least let you know what the tone's going to be going into it. And I hope you found it. I think. I hope you found it as funny as I did.
Fair. I don't know if you let us know about the tone of it. As far as to what I was expecting, after Tokyo Gore Police, I was expecting something bonkers, like with the name like The Coffee Table.
I did not tell you about the tone.
And us being sworn to secrecy.
I'm so sorry.
Well, not sworn to secrecy, but that's the moral you were learned from earlier. No,
Uh,
I don't. No.
I apologize. No, I meant
I
to.
don't like knowing what I like. I too like
Oh, okay.
going into a movie and trying to figure it out. I don't look up synopses.
Same here. I also say, but that's why I asked you to tell us where to find it, because that's
Yeah,
usually all I end up
Because
doing.
otherwise,
That
you
can
just Google
sometimes,
the coffee
yeah,
table,
and sometimes
now
that
you know
Google
all the
can,
things.
yeah, that Google will show you the poster, and
'Cause,
it
like-
might show you might read the first 3 words of the synopsis, and
Yeah.
it leads you down a path. So yeah,
'Cause, like,
that's usually the most that we'll do here on this show.
I have a
Um,
coworker
But we
who
didn't even do that.
who
We went in
will-
completely raw.
good. Like,
Oh,
I have a
that's it.
coworker who, like, if she's not sure about a movie, even if I tell her, "Oh, Mari, you met her." Like, Bethany, go see this movie. I don't know, and she'll like read the plot on like Wikipedia. Dude, why? I wasn't sure. Just go watch the fucking movie. You love horror movies. Why? Just go watch the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Sorry to out you like that, Bethany. I mean,
If that's her real name.
his name is Scott.
I would say what I was anticipating. I don't know. I was scared, honestly. If I'm honest with you guys. I on Tuesday I almost sent you a message because I was thinking about it so much. I almost sent you a message of like really nervous about this
About sitting down to watch it.
Because of the caveat that like I wasn't thinking about it in the way of like you wanted to prevent us from knowing about the movie. It was more of like, oh, if he's saying that if we look this up, we'll refuse his choice or something like that.
No, it was just
so yeah, I was like nervous for what we were going to be seeing. I'm not gonna lie.
it was just not wanting like the concern being about like the plot being after a horrific accident, a father has to figure out what to do about. And there we go.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, well, crap.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly
so I
why
didn't know.
don't read
I
synopses.
I
Yep.
was expecting the movie to go hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
in whatever way. I wasn't necessarily thinking Tokyo Gore Police because I knew from your because I had seen because like I don't know if we discussed on air or not, but you had some selections before this one that I had seen a couple of them of, and I knew that those weren't anywhere near tonally Tokyo Gore Police, so I wasn't necessarily going down that road. I was just assuming that the film was going to go really hard, and so I was a little, I was getting antsy about having to watch it.
All right, that's it. I guess we'll go ahead and start talking about the movie itself. And right off the bat, like, well, my initial reaction or the main note I had was like, well, that's one way to start with the like random cut to like her giving labor and shit. I'm like, well, now I really don't know what to expect.
I have a water truck very far away. I am still here.
Yeah, like now I really don't know what to expect. And then I saw it say they were talking about buying this coffee table. And again, I'm thinking off the wall, something bonkers. I was like, God damn it, the coffee table's the killer, isn't it? This is going to be a movie about an evil coffee table that somehow is killing these people because it had the humanoid figures carved into it. I'm expecting some CG at one point. The big reveal, they come to life and like
Those two
stab
evil like
somebody.
mermaid people,
Yeah.
Roman people. Yeah.
Dude,
My first thought was like
about the unbreakable glass. So I'm thinking that's gonna come into play with how they defeat it.
the spiritual successor to Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Exactly.
I
A
had
movie
that
I
thought at
have
one
seen.
point, and it was awful.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, and it's
Oh,
just called The Coffee Table, too. Oh, this is definitely some deathbed shit.
The table that coffees.
Things are heating up. The worst part of waking up.
Oh my god.
So that's what I thought. And then the other initial reaction, at least, was that little girl was annoying. I hated her from like the first scene, Ruth. You like me?
I really enjoyed the scene in the at the furniture sales place.
I did too.
Really like that. Really love the dialogue between everybody. Really love the performance of our male lead in particular. Um, uh, just kind of like a I don't know, like you can feel in that scene, you can feel everything.
The
Yeah.
greasiness coming off of him.
Yeah, and just like kind of just like the
Ugh.
big dummy a little
Yeah.
bit and in a way and all of those like yeah, I really enjoyed that opening scene and the dialogue.
Pretty
Uh
realistic dialogue to like, you chose everything. You chose the wedding, you chose this.
yeah.
I want the
My
one
mom's.
thing.
You chose my mom's dress.
Which is
Like,
crazy.
really?
It's like, I want one coffee table. That's it. And she even kind of jokes about when they get it and take it home. It's just like, this is my one decision for the next 10 months. It's fine. I understand. It's like, you want wine or not? I've already made my one decision for the next 10 months. You do whatever.
And like, I guess Cayetano 2, we'll call him, because we never get his actual name, but he says that he has the same name as the baby, trying to
Yeah.
bond with Jesus, trying to get in with him. Or actually trying to get points with the mom, I guess, and get
Yeah.
Yeah.
and get her on his side because she hates him from square one. And I mean,
And then
so
all
does
that does
everyone.
is make her
Make her
pissed.
angrier.
Yeah,
Can you
the
believe his name Kayaton
her
too?
baby
Yeah.
shares the name
Two
of this
people have the same shitty
greasy
name.
furniture
Bad
People have the
salesman.
same shit name.
Like, damn, Jesus.
So
Kind of
you
like she
have
said,
this
that's your
table
son.
too, right? Like, no, I have a table like it. Like, just say you have this table as well. Like, well, I thought you said the table was a bargain. Well, it is a bargain. It's too expensive for me,
But you see, Fluffles,
but a bargain.
he almost never lies to his customers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He almost never lies to his customers. Almost.
But yeah. Um,
Oh,
and I guess we're talking about the movies and like standout moments. We'll get to the first one, the glass shattering when he's
but
like
like,
taking. Go ahead.
sorry. Real quick, the big thing that I wanted to send you guys on the movie's tone was how funny it was, even when it got really dark. There was so much just funny dialogue, even if they weren't joking. Just so much to kind of make you laugh, even when it got really dark. It just keeps you laughing, and there are times where it's like, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. So I guess I'm gonna laugh. And this is one of those times where it's like this opening scene in the furniture store. Even it's just really fucking funny.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
then we
I
cut to
really
him
enjoyed. Go
carrying
ahead.
that fucking coffee table up the
Yeah.
world's narrowest stairwell, like 8 floors,
Uh-huh.
and it's really fucking funny.
Yeah. Before the inciting incident, I'm I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, obviously. And if you asked me to put my money in Vegas, I would say that the other shoe's gonna drop that Jesus has a second side to him kind of thing, and that the Ruth shit is going to be real, and like we're gonna
Like,
reveal that he's
he
this
actually
goofy
is like an
dummy, and
evil guy.
yeah, that like that's
Yeah.
I would say that's kind of where other than just enjoying the film, because this is my kind of like a
Yeah.
very like you know, real lived in sets, no studio filming. Like these are obviously kind of, I don't know what the budget on this is, but it
Oh,
doesn't
it seemed to
feel
be
it doesn't, it's not an
close to
expensive
zero
movie.
budget.
Yeah.
Like that seemed like an actual furniture store they filmed in.
Yeah,
I don't think any like yeah, these are just real places, it feels like.
Yeah.
I agree.
Shot with a lot of natural lighting.
Yeah.
It's very much my vibe of like cinematography and filmmaking. So I'm enjoying it a lot. Um, uh, get a little angry with the film leading up to the inciting incident because that's a genetic tool that they're using near abuse with a crying baby for that long straight of a time of
Okay.
just silence and crying baby. Like we're genetically engineered to for that to make us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like right before the inciting incident, I'm like, all right, this is getting a little, I'm getting angry with you, movie. This feels abusive.
But
Because
then
you
he
know
stopped
this is
crying because the mom put him down. He stopped crying, and then they start chatting about this and that. She wants to go shopping. She just
Mhm.
wants a little bit of peace and quiet, a little bit of time away from the baby, which she hasn't had in the probably week and a half that she's been home from the hospital.
Yeah.
If that, the neighbor
If that,
hasn't
yeah.
even seen
Yeah.
them, so like
True. Actually, yeah. The
Yeah.
neighbor hasn't
No.
even met the
Yeah.
baby.
could just be a
Nobody
few
seems to
days.
have.
Yeah. I mean, Ruth and Jesus
They don't
haven't
even
even had a
explicitly
chance
say
to
they
sleep
could be
together
on their
yet.
way home from the hospital. I don't know why they would go to a furniture store, but I mean, it's not explicitly said.
They have another picture with the baby. Otherwise, I definitely would have
True.
assumed that as well if they didn't already have like some picture outside with it. But yeah, that was in a frame and set up already, as opposed to like just on the table. Yeah, well, they could have taken that on the way home.
Again.
But yeah, they have not had that baby long at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
So, I have something to talk about.
okay.
Um, so I can tend to be an emotional person. Um, when I feel things, I feel them on a hard level at times. Um, and this movie is really good and was doing
Yes.
a very good job at it. Um, so I made it, I would say about 15 minutes past the inciting incident, and my regulator on my emotions told me that I needed to stop it. This is a first for this podcast. Uh, it is not a comment on on you, sir, for bringing the film or the film itself. It as I've said with everything else, it's too good for how I take in movies. It was making me feel really bad, and I wasn't seeing an escape in sight. And I I made the choice to go ahead and stop the movie.
To
I
just pause, get up, and breathe for a little bit.
Yeah. Um I'm I know I will. I think I will go back. I don't want to say I know I will. I think I will go back to it again because it was again, it hits all the buttons I want. But because it hits all those buttons, I get really into it. And the telltale heart scenario is incredibly effective to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I fear the because I have to have that regulator. I have to have it. Um this is the first film I think I have ever seen where that regulator that I installed at like 17 has ever flashed its red light and said pull the cord. Because I don't know if you'll be able to pull yourself out of the slump that this will put you in for a little while.
So you said you'll go back to it. Were you able to finish
I
it the
might.
first time?
No, I stopped it.
Oh, yeah. So you stopped.
Oh,
and
just like stop it, like for the evening.
I have not finished the film.
Oh,
I made it to minute 41,
crap.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why. Yeah, if I had just stepped away, this wouldn't have been the big dramatic reveal that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I am mea culpaing, but also at the same time saying I already know I made the right decision for me. But I'm also saying I'm sorry for not finishing it. But I also respect the choice and respect the filmmaking. But I can't. I don't know if I can watch this movie because it's so.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do this as a these guys hadn't seen the coffee table part one, or do you want to kind of
Well, he's not sure if he'll go back to it.
do you
no,
want
I've
Omari
already.
and I to talk through the rest of it?
No, I needed to. I needed to know. I needed to know. So I've already. I know. I mean,
Okay,
I
so you
don't.
know that it doesn't get better.
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
because that's. I mean, I can also see the writing. Like I know.
But
Even on a
his
even on a
level,
film
his
that may
level of
bounce the
catharsis
rails,
and
you can still kind
emotion.
of see the rails, and it's
But
like, all right, this
still.
is only going to either get tremendously like
Yeah.
this is going to be like the only way this can go is either murder fest or deep like
Yeah.
Yeah.
quiet trauma film kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I don't know if I can.
So you just read about it and
Yeah,
you
I
know
just double
where it
checked that
goes.
that's what I and was like, did it go? I needed to know if it went one way or the other,
Okay.
and
I
and I'm fine with it getting talked in length here.
okay.
I may go back to it at some point because of how much I enjoyed. Even I mean, even the terrible stuff was being done very well and as
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can say as tastefully as you can do that, but
I
Oh
think
like
no,
that
it
is
is
the best
incredibly
way to put
tasteful.
it. Is that it's
yeah,
the most tasteful way you can handle this kind of topic.
Yes.
um and yeah, the back and forth between her at the grocery store and him there at the apartment and um yeah, and then he went up to Ruth, and then I kind of got up from the couch and was just like, all right, let me just kind of like let me bounce it off. Let me just shake this off a little bit, and then I was just like, okay, all right, this is the vibe that it's going to. Um, okay. Like if this was a short film where he then he then like immediately killed himself. Um uh it would be one of the most interesting creative. I would be shouting it to the rooftops to people.
Mhm.
Uh but yeah, like I
That
said
would have
earlier,
been
that like kind of
crazy.
like telltale heart, quiet
Yeah.
But
stewing,
you know that
and I know
his wife's
how.
going out to get dinner for his brother and his
Yeah.
girlfriend,
I
and
Yeah.
felt so bad
she
for
has to
her.
come back,
So
and
like,
they're
yeah, the
gonna find
second
the
the
baby.
movie shows like he's not like the rest of this movie isn't going to be about wife coming home and seeing the murder suicide and like the trauma to her, or like then she ends up turning into a, because you never know if a movie can turn. As soon as I got the guidelines that it was going to be just like that kind of like heavy tension until the shoe drops. Um, I was like, okay, I can't. My heart can't take it. Not
Yeah.
to sound
My like
silly.
I'm generally like cathartic and empathic, especially when it comes to stuff like embarrassing reveals and how do you humiliate, how do you deal with that situation. I think the only thing that kept it from having a similar effect on me to the point to where I'm like, oh, I can't watch this, is because in my head, because of the tasteful way in it that they shot the inciting incident, um, I was still on my the table's the killer
I couldn't.
mentality. So I
I
wasn't sure if they were just trying to make us think he had accidentally done something like in the moment, or
Yeah.
if we're gonna get the reveal later that something happened. And when he
mhm.
gripped that knife in his hand at one point, I was like, oh, okay, no, this is going a different
The
way.
table possessed him or
Yeah,
something.
and then that's what
That
I'm
was
like,
kind
oh
of where I
no,
was like
he
on my first watch
accidentally.
through, like, wait, what?
The last thing I'll have, and then it'll basically be me enjoying you guys talking
All
about
right.
this, because I'm out at this point. Is um, I feel it from my reading of the plot on Wiki. I feel like at some point the film may allude to context that it wasn't that it was just like a horrible accident kind of thing. I'm not
Yes.
sure on that.
Yeah,
Yes, it was
But
100% an
horrible
accident.
accident.
There was no ill will. There
in
was
the
no ill intent.
in that time, it it looks very much like
It
it's
could go either
intentional.
way.
Yeah. Like
Um,
I watched it with
do
Aubrey
they
and
show
Angel.
you again?
No.
So it's purely just him recanting or recounting
He never retells it. It's just he never retells it.
Well, at least on camera.
At
how
least
do
on
we know
camera.
that it's an accident?
Because
I feel like the
it's
setup
from
of
his
it is
it's
very
his
clear
body
that it's not.
language, the fact that he hurt himself, the fact that there's no ill will in his body, and why would he have cut himself? How would he have cut himself if he did that
Um,
on purpose?
well,
I
I mean, I
I've
couldn't.
tried because like Aubrey and Angel, I watched it with them.
Yeah,
Um, they both thought that he had done it not as a like time to have peace in my life, but as a spontaneous act.
yeah,
I
it's been known to happen.
I have watched this movie 4 times now. I understand where they're coming from, but based on his thoughts before and afterwards, I can't read any ill will in his body language. He doesn't like the baby's name, but that's it. He still tried with his wife to have this baby for 2 years just because he didn't think it was ready. He was ready to have a baby. He still went with these treatments for 2 years to try to have a baby for
Yeah,
her. He still like was this shaken up afterwards. Yes, like someone could do something this violent and this vile and then regret it afterwards, but he was never himself.
The rest.
I don't for the rest of the movie. I don't see.
Yeah,
And there was never a point that I don't think he wasn't planning on killing himself.
yeah. I read that
I
he starts recording a message at one point.
yeah,
That brother interrupts.
yes.
But yeah,
I no, there was no
I
it was
can't.
accidental.
Looking at the geography of what we do see, one, I would say him getting hurt almost every, not almost every, but there's such a high percentage of stabbing attackers that end up with cuts on their own hand.
Yeah.
That I mean, I chalk that up to fully possible, because of what I feel like the geography of that scene is,
And like the one thing, him
which is
tripping
what I couldn't get out of
is
my
off camera.
mind. Like that's what, like, I know it's off camera, but I
Yeah.
feel like I felt like in the moment the geography paints a pretty strong picture of There's no other way to put this but like a baseball bat scenario.
No, because the way that he takes the glass off of the coffee table and he leans it because it was missing the screw,
Right.
and he was talking about the coffee table, just like, oh, you want to see the coffee table? Isn't it a great coffee table? And I just think he took a step towards it. I think he stumbled, drop, and the edge of the glass, his hand hits it first, crack, break, aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
I don't see any way that he did that deliberately based on the rest of the movie afterwards.
And at least the way the rest of the film is
only
like
reason why I'm
shot
allowed to
and
think that
portrayed.
is just because of it has happened.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, just perfect. Like, you get the Channel 5 people with the neighbors of just like, he was the sweetest man. I don't understand how
Yeah.
this could have, and it just like, can't, never dealt with a baby before, can't get the thing to stop crying, moment of frustration. Yeah, I'm not saying it's excusable or anything, but like
Right.
that's just kind of how my brain painted that moment. And
Yeah.
okay, so I'm
But like he didn't seem before that point to be at the end of his rope there. He was just walking around with the baby crying. He was calm. His wife had left to go shopping. He was balanced. He seemed fine.
right, but
Like
usually those things aren't an end of the
outwardly,
rope thing. It's
right. Yeah,
it is an instant reaction. I mean,
Yeah.
that exact
Though-
scenario has played out
Yeah,
in
though know
American
that
households plenty of times.
you are officially the third time since Sunday I have heard this take. So you are not alone. I will give you credit there.
Yeah.
So Omari, we are technically the minority here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to
Um,
such things, but
But I've seen more horror movies, Omari, so you're on the winning side.
yeah, I felt like, I mean, it was either accidental or intentional. I was
Yeah.
feeling like it would reveal that it was intentional,
No,
or
never did.
or leave it ambiguous. And yeah, my brain was, and just like kind of couldn't stop replaying the moment that I was seeing the geography create. Because that's the thing, is the second part being all the way over on the other side under the chair, distant from the table. That's kind of that I feel like that's the thing that I can't get past in
Okay.
your scenario.
And just getting the momentum.
I mean, yeah,
like, how does that happen?
Yeah, that's fair.
but
But I think it's just
it could
a blocking thing.
and
I think
also
it's blocking.
it's just a movie thing of like, we
Yeah.
don't want it sitting out in the open.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
like we said earlier, as tastefully as you could do this subject matter.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's just it has to be there for the third act kind of thing, and it was the best way to
Also
have it there.
to show
Yeah.
what happened without showing what happened.
Yeah. Maybe he kicked it
Mhm.
during the trip.
Proverbial Chekhov.
So that is a part of the reason why I ended up backing away.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill,
get
just keep picturing this over and over again.
But had he found
that out of my brain.
Had he found said part under the chair when you were still watching?
Yeah.
Had he found it? Yeah.
I saw the
Okay.
I saw the corpse manipulation, the initial corpse manipulation. I'm sure there might have been more toward but yeah, it was he had decided, he had revealed that he was trying to clean up. And I was like, this motherfucker's gonna clean up.
Oh, and he went upstairs to
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
that's when I was like, should I stop this film? Because there's no end in sight. I was like, at least maybe if this dude dies, then the movie becomes a different movie and I can
Gotcha.
see that movie. Then. But I was like, if this dude stays alive, there's no end in sight. It's just gonna be continuing to think about this dude doing this act, and
Yeah.
I can't keep thinking about that.
I think, main reason I say I think it was unintentional is because of the way some of the scenes are shot for the rest of the movie. The way that when he reveals it to his brother what he did, again, because the movie's trying to be with its own level of mystery, probably so we can have these kind of conversations. Your J.J. Abrams mystery box, if you will. Or Tarantino briefcase, depending on who you are. I think just the way his brother also immediately takes his side. And like he tells him, like, we're gonna have to tell, but don't kill yourself, don't do so and so. Your wife's gonna need you after what has happened, and stuff like that, as opposed to like I can't believe you've done something like this. You know what I mean? Like his brother, that stuff like that makes me think, okay, it was unintentional, but I don't think it was up until that point that I was more sure of that. Like I was sure that he had actually killed the baby and it wasn't the coffee table. Like a few minutes after the inciting incident and the way things kept playing out, I'm like, oh no, this is a telltale heart type situation. Like when he didn't stab his wife when she came through the door, that was the other thing where I was like, okay, he's not even like, I can't have any witnesses. Rah, rah, rah. So that's why I'm like, okay, it's just him. This is just going to be awkward from now on. When's it going to get found?
The worst kind of awkward.
And then him in that scene where he's getting the cleaning supply, him setting up the moment at the end with the fucking girl coming back.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell your wife about us if I give you these cleaning supplies.
Like, well, can you come back later? And like Ruth's mom is like, pick them up tomorrow. It's okay. You can borrow them until tomorrow. We don't need them. And Ruth is just like dead eyeing him, like, I'll see you tonight, lover.
4:30. I'll be done with my dog. I'm walking him and I'm coming to your house.
X squared plus Y squared equals
I'm
us,
curious.
Jesus.
Do you? I'm curious how he manages to keep the wife from seeing the baby for so long. Does that feel realistic in the film?
That was one issue.
Do you buy that this woman would not want to put eyes on her baby when she got home?
I feel like she would have wanted to see the baby sooner, if I'm being honest. But
it did come up a couple times, and there was a bit of keep away by Jesus, and it was a bit of like let me watch him. It was my first time having him home. He's quiet. I got him to go to sleep and take a nap. Let me keep him quiet. And there was a point where she said, well, I have to breastfeed him in 2 hours. You can't really do that, so you have until then. And then at a point after the brother sees the body, she knocks on the door. The brother opens it and is like, hey, we're just talking about brother stuff. And she's like, well, you have 10 minutes to figure out your brother stuff. Then I have to breastfeed him.
Mm-hmm.
And the brother's like, great. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up. Is this the best Coen Brothers movie that you guys have ever seen, or what? I had this thought about halfway through this movie. I was just like, this is a fucking single location Coen Brothers movie. There's just
I was
a powder keg with a bunch of fuses. Just and I'm waiting for them all to pop.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. I did like the bathroom monologue that he gets caught up on, or he gets caught trying to record the goodbye message or whatever. Yeah. I liked his delivery with that. Some of the scenes in the movie when the wife first gets home and finds out the table breaks and she starts laughing.
I have a note on that. But
I felt so bad for her. I felt so bad for her because she was just
No, I feel worse for
it
him.
was time warp back
I
to
felt bad
when
for
I
her
was
because
still
she
watching
didn't
the
know
movie.
what she was
My heart
referring
was
to.
breaking for
Oh,
her when
well.
she was so happy at the grocery store. Like it
Also
kept
true.
cutting back and forth, and she was just so
Yeah.
happy, and she was talking to her.
Yeah, that was one
and
thing,
she
Bill.
was talking so positively about him.
It's like Jesus
Heartbreaking.
on his knees covered in blood. And then it cuts to the grocery store. It's like, okay, finally, some light, some levity. Oh, we tried so hard for this baby. 2 years of lab treatments, and now we're so happy. We have little Cayetano home. Great, thanks for nothing. Back to Jesus
I did
covered
think
in
it
blood,
was-
still on his knees.
You talked about
Back to the grocery store.
Yeah, you talked about laughs in the sad times. I did get one from the grocery store lady when she's like, "And what's the baby's name?" Cayetan. And she just gives a solid beat of a pause and like a Cayetan. Like she agreed. Like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so she's on Jesus's side about the name, but she doesn't want the wife to feel like bad about it. So she's like, you know what? That's your baby. You're right.
Good for you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm not gonna comment on that. Why should I ruin your fun?
Yeah, like when Maria gets home from the grocery store, she like outside of the like laughing because the coffee table broke and oh, I wish I'd been here to see the look on your face and all that, which you do feel bad for her for. Your husband, as far as you know, that is his blood all over the carpet, all over the little fray thingy doos on the bottom of that chair. His hand is wrapped in gauze, which is definitely his blood. He sliced his hand open. Yes, you can have a little chuckle because he's okay, but you were laughing for way too long about that.
I mean, all through making dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have a very weird, like the opening scenes before the inciting incident. They have a very strange dynamic. Like it feels arranged marriagey almost, or like there's like he feels even though they're probably like he has age in his face, but his character feels young, and her character and how she's playing it kind of feels old, and it's just and they there's not a lot of love there. We only see fighting and it's
I'm like, this is a toxic relationship.
Like
they're
not a good couple.
Yeah,
like they talk about love, but we don't see the love.
Right, like you just said there, like very little care to a husband who you have to assume was bleeding a lot while you were gone.
Paid a lot of money for this table that he wanted as his one choice per 10 months in his own words.
Right, that's the whole other layer to it of like
the only choice
the dialogue alluding to him just kind of being trapped.
Yeah,
like in the relationship kind of thing, and like
one thing that I thought about, if he didn't take her out coffee table shopping, I bet he doesn't come home with that coffee table, because I bet she saw it and went, "Oh, Jesus, how hideous is that coffee table?" And I bet he went, "That is my favorite coffee table. That is the best coffee table I've ever seen."
Because he doesn't even really act like he likes it that
He
much.
doesn't like the coffee table that much, but he went, she doesn't like
Let's be
it.
honest, nobody
that means
like this coffee table.
It's all mine. But no, I love the coffee table. Are you kidding me? It's made of Roman design, parts out of Switzerland, assembled in China or whatever it was.
Yeah, made in China.
And it was like
this is the
made of ivory,
Chinese
covered in gold, plated in like what? Just all these impossible descriptions and materials.
The most unbreakable glass.
Except for your baby's neck. Too soon? Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, I guess for
no.
Sorry, Bill.
I guess for
no, I mean,
no, but no, that it was crazy, and then
nothing can be worse than experiencing it.
Yeah,
everything else now is water off the duck's back.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I told Jen. I was like, hey, at least look at the silver lining of this.
Oh,
We had to have seen the movie
yeah,
because they couldn't possibly go farther than decapitating
yeah.
baby.
Part two. On top of, I feel like her being responsible for her kind of being coin flip for her being responsible for bringing the coffee table into their home by going shopping with him. She is responsible for him waking up because she left the home in a huff and felt the need to slam the door. He woke up.
Yeah.
Cayetano was sleeping. She felt the need to show off her authority by slamming the front door. He woke up, started crying. Jesus had to start walking around the house with him and tried to soothe him.
Yeah. I mean,
Definitely a shot. Like Omar, you like to predict films. Did you have that anywhere on your ballad up until
on
the
your bingo
moment
card?
it happened?
what the baby, the inciting incident, as we keep
Was
The
that-
inciting
to it?
incident?
Was that
No.
your free square?
No,
baby?
again, I thought the table was going to kill people. So no, I did
You
not.
thought the table was good, right?
I mean, it did kill one people.
I mean, even at that point, at
No.
like minute 27,
He said
you still
up
thought
to
this
his,
table's
like-
gonna come alive.
Okay, when he goes off screen, you hear a shatter, and it turns off the baby's dead, and he's having that moment where he can't say anything, and he's sitting there, and they leave it up to things. That's why I said that's probably what kept me from having the same breaking point, is because the table somehow being responsible or possessed. That option, while not the front runner, was still it. I don't want to say still on the table because I'm talking about a table.
Ha.
Get my point.
So
That option was still there.
you had pivoted away from like sentient table
Yes.
to like a vibe causing table.
Yeah.
Like the table just makes things happen.
Yes, an unlucky table. Because the
Okay.
movie's called The Coffee Table.
Right.
And this is and this suggestion was brought to us by the guy who suggested Tokyo Gore Police. He watches a lot of movies. Don't get me
He does
wrong.
watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, I just said he's our resident horror expert, but
Yeah.
it was just one of those things. Like I said, with the swear to secrecy. No, don't look up anything. I want y'all to be surprised when you see this shit. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be wacky off the wall. Oh, it's not wacky at all. Oh, and it wasn't until he didn't.
No, we are never watching Martyrs.
Yeah.
No. No.
It wasn't until
No.
the
You will
wife.
never speak to me again.
It wasn't until the wife came home and he had the knife in his hand, like he was gonna open the door,
Yep.
and he decided not to kill her in that, like, within like 2 minutes of her coming in the house, that I was like, oh no, it's all him. And that's why I was like, and then like I said, the rest of the movie and the way his body language and everything went, it was like, okay, no, because part of me is like, why are you being so secret? The other part's like, even if I had done that by accident, I don't know how I could bring myself to tell my wife, hey, that baby we tried 2 years for and spent all that medical money on treatment.
Even if that's an accident. Step out.
Literally.
You're done.
Yeah, right.
You're done.
Right across.
Immediate.
Yep.
Immediate. You're done.
Whoops.
There's no
Yeah.
there's no
coming back from that.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's over.
We're never gonna see each other again. That's it. That's all of it. However long we've known each other and
The
dated
one
each other
time
for.
left with the baby on a day that we were arguing, because let me tell you something, she probably would have assumed straight up off the bat, especially
Murder.
if he came back that bad, she would be on Team Bill with this. Oh no,
Yeah.
that was
He did a murder.
yeah. So
Yep.
I could totally see it both ways, especially now that we've had our conversation about this. But my initial take was accident. But yeah, then the brother dropping lines during the food scene. We had the one telltale heart moment during the food scene where he started hallucinating about the food, and that was crazy. But then the brother saying lines like, "Well, I wouldn't kill my baby, but I would do so and so, so and so." It's like, oh,
If my girlfriend, if she asked me to, well, sorry, brother.
I'd kill you. I wouldn't kill a baby. I'm not rude, but I'd kill you.
Because the brother, he went vegan for the girlfriend. So if she asked me to kill you, sorry. I guess instead of one baby, we'll have two. Then it turns out the 18-year-old girlfriend, by the way, and the brother is about Jesus's age. A bit of a loaded thing.
Which is far older than 18.
I was about ready to ask you guys what that, because like it could have been the guy could have showed up and been like 22, you know.
No.
And so
it's about
like,
his age. He had gray in his hair.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, no, it was awkward.
Yeah.
Which he Carlos and Christina, both good characters, good actors. She had great moments in the bedroom they were building for Cayetano, but it was a little bit weird. It was played up to be a little bit weird, and Jesus at a breaking point does call the whole thing out of just like, you are ruining her life, you're ruining her life, you're knocking her up when she's only 18. She has her whole life ahead of her. What are you doing?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, I agree.
There's a moment where they're showing Christina around Cayetano's bedroom, and there are like old toys Jesus had as a kid, when there's like X-Wings, there's like He-Man toys, Ninja Turtles, and there's all these things. And Christina is just saying, "Oh, I saw this from this TV show. I saw this from Stranger Things. I saw this from," and it's just like,
yeah,
the age gap, and that's kind of a huge.
That age gap,
a huge thing about the age gap of just, it was such a great moment of just, Carlos, how is that? Where's your connection? She even like made you go vegan for her. I get you might have like what connection did you guys form?
Yeah, the age gap. I felt the age gap felt even bigger because she was talking about stuff like the 80s and all of that, and her only frame of reference was something like Stranger Things. Meanwhile, I'm like, I remember having those kind of toys.
Yeah.
And on a day like today, we don't.
I had that exact He-Man.
We don't have to break the fourth wall and say exactly what date we're recording this on. But on a day like today, that hit me a bit harder when people talking about old stuff. That's all I'm. That's all I was like.
Oh my.
Damn, that's that old. Fair enough. I mean, not that I'm like, oh, I'm an old man and I don't know how to do any of this. And if you come any closer, no, none of that shit. But, yeah. And then we get to the climax.
Yep.
Fucking the girl comes over, demanding to get to the house, goes ahead and says that the dude kissed her in an elevator, which we have her.
Maria opens the door.
Yeah.
And Maria's like, come back tomorrow. Ruth's like, no, I need to speak to you and Jesus now. Come back tomorrow. No, now. Come back tomorrow. Jesus kissed me on the elevator. 10 seconds later. Hey, Jesus, we need to talk about something. That's Maria to Jesus. And then
the dog.
Oh, Mari, take us away.
The girl puts the dog down, and you immediately know what's about to happen. Because it's a dog. It goes straight to the chair. And everyone's going
What's
crazy.
Under the chair,
dude barking. Then the dog barks, and as they turn around, it starts to pull it out. The uncle runs over to try and stop it. He's too late to grab it. Ruth sees it first. Maria's like, what's going on? Christina sees it. She starts reacting.
She starts throwing up everywhere.
Okay. Yes, she starts throwing up.
Yeah. Like Ruth just goes into like a trance or like a coma or something.
And then Ruth yells out what it is. The, the wife demands to see it. She holds it. And you see her walking toward the balcony. And I'm like, oh. Well, I'm like, then they're both going to do it, right? Is he going to walk up like he's going to? So at that point, since you want to talk about me trying to predict things, I have an idea where this is about to go. But I'm like, is he going to walk up and try to stop her only to like hold hands and they both jump?
That was my thought on the first view of just like, no, honey, together kind of thing.
But no, it just pans to her on the balcony, look away. She's not on the balcony. Because again, as tastefully as they can handle these topics,
yeah,
they do this. And then it just cuts and they say that he did it as well. Which I'm like, he better not be the only one to live, is how I felt. At that point, it's like, no, you need to jump too. It's wrong to root for people to kill themselves, whatever. But at the same time, in this context, especially with the way he was, I'm like, there's no way he's living when he already is that racked with guilt. Because even in the moment, he could not bring himself to say anything. He could only say.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, there's only one option, and that's exit.
Yeah.
And he was already talking about doing that.
Scenario.
And then his wife did it. No, he had to. No, there was no.
Yeah.
But like in the credits,
the plot describes that like we kind of, or the plot that I read described that we kind of skipped all that.
And like his brother's in the back of a squad car, just saying like the coffee table over and over again.
But we don't see Ruth. We assume Ruth survives.
Ruth. Ruth and Chris survived. They're just in a state of shock and not telling anybody anything.
Okay.
All three people in the room that survive don't say exactly what happened. The closest thing, because they're all in such a state of shock, and the only thing that they get is the brother who is paranoid in the back of the cop car saying, the coffee table, the coffee table, the coffee table. You know, because that's the title.
Got
him. Got him. Roll credits. But yeah, any other things, I guess, that you wanted to hit on from the movie, like that, or talking? No, I think we covered pretty much everything. So yeah, that's the coffee table. As to how we feel about the movie, from what I saw, being the whole movie, thoroughly enjoyed the acting, the cinematography, because as we touched on, to cover a topic like this, that's you have to handle it delicately. And I think the low budget nature, the lived in apartment, and the emphasis on reactions and characters and mannerisms and stuff like that, I thought was done very well. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was not what I was expecting at all. And I do mean that in the best way. I'm glad it wasn't a table that, like, don't get me wrong. I would have enjoyed a movie with some shitty CGI of a table going around killing people. Yeah, the people wake up at like some statues from fucking Doctor Who and just start stabbing when you look away or some shit.
Yeah, there are times where like
exactly,
that's the movie that we call for.
Yeah, the Weeping Angel type shit.
Yep.
Like that's what kind of vibes I got from that table when I still thought that's what this table was going to be. I would have enjoyed that movie, but I'm very happy that it wasn't that movie. And I think the acting done by the characters we have, all well. You may say something about Ruth or whatever, but it's a kid when you get a legit kid actor in the film. And I still think Ruth did a good job for what they asked her to do. But main character, man, Jesus, fantastic job. Because he had a lot of scenes that he needed to be good because he's literally the only focus.
He was in half the movie just by himself, just stare like a deer caught in headlights. And that's all you do. and he was phenomenal.
Yeah. The
Like,
Maria when she finds out and everything. Oh, I love the choice during the big thing to just be silent with music, as opposed to you actually hearing the. Not saying that
yeah,
there's anything wrong with you
yeah,
hearing the tears, but it was more. It helped fit the style of the movie where it was trying to
yep.
be artsy, you know. But yeah, and, like I liked it. I really did. Bill, from what you saw, I understand it had that big impact on you, and you didn't finish. But I guess
Yeah, I mean, no, I like this movie. I was enjoy. I mean, as much as what I described of as much as one can like a movie that they stopped by choice and didn't go back to. Um, if this was a hour and 35-minute film of just a character study of this newlywed couple recently having a baby, trying to host a dinner party with his brother while they bicker and fight all the time, I would have thoroughly enjoyed it. I would have thoroughly enjoyed it because the filmmaking is great and you can tell that everyone involved in the creation of this cared. Um but yeah, it's just the inciting incident was and then the stress of the slow nature of the film um was what was too much for me. So I had to back out of it, but great in every other way
Well,
that I can
I have a
I can I
movie
can I
to
can watch the
recommend
film.
that you never ever watch, Bill.
Okay.
Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
It is number 4 on my list all time.
Hmm.
Never watch it. Never ever watch it. Unlike the coffee table, it does not come with levity. It will not stop. It will never stop, and you will never feel better.
so. Do not watch it.
Just
Is
do
what you're
not
saying.
watch it. If you ever want to, let me know. I will look up wherever you want to watch it from. It is amazing.
Yeah,
But
I unfortunately no.
yeah, okay. Have you
Um,
seen it?
no. That's
Oh,
why I
okay.
said unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
I unfortunately like I know the thing.
Okay.
And so
Dang,
like that got spoiled to me and so I from that moment on I was like, "Oh, well,
that sucks.
yeah." And not in a malicious intent. I think it was just like a poor scroll on a Reddit or something
Okay,
was
that's
just
fair.
like here's
So I need
here's what
more sad
here's what
movies.
this moment in Hereditary is. Yeah.
Yeah, and Andrew, I think you mentioned that you've also enjoyed the movie and stuff, and that's why you
Oh
talked
yeah,
about it.
hard enjoy. This was the
It's his number
4th time that I've
5.
seen it. Um, 5 out of 5. Still a 5 out of 5. Softened slightly. Like there are small little editing things. Not editing, but like small little choices, small little things I would change about the movie, like that I'm noticing in hindsight. Nothing major. Nothing to really like change the score. I still love it so much, especially knowing that they were working with nothing. You can tell that they put everything on the screen. And I love it for that. I love the movie. I'm happy I could come up with something with zero budget, something tonally so different from Tokyo Gore Police and Malignant that still had talking points, that was still a hopefully enjoyable conversation, hopefully an enjoyable watch for one and a half of you. And now I have a note for next time.
I do think the fact that the way the film was handled and everything having as much of an impact on an empath that it did
Yeah.
to make the fact that the movie made someone feel that strongly with it is a statement to the greatness of the movie and
Yeah.
how it acts.
And
Like if you are an empathic person, this movie will make you feel.
like on On viewing number one, when even though I kind of realized what was going to happen when the father was about to stop wandering back and forth through the hallway, it was like, please don't, please don't. Then it happened. I just kind of sat there in shock. And at the end of the movie, when the mother finds the head, I nearly cry every time I've seen this movie. And there are movies that I cry every time that I've seen them. Bill, the movie that I just told you not to watch. There are 2 points in that movie. I cry every time I see it. Twice. Every time. Doesn't matter. I can tell you what points they are.
Yep.
But you know what's going to happen. Does not matter.
Yeah, I was completely tall. Him walking back and forth, I still didn't see it coming. I was completely caught off guard by it, like, oh, this is a different fucking movie.
And like, it wasn't even like, oh, because he left the glass leaning up. So it wasn't even me realizing that. It was just like, oh, he's gonna wander off screen and something horrible is gonna. Ah, crap. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Crash.
I was too busy being angry with the movie for manipulating me with a baby cry.
Yeah, that's fair.
To think about where it was about ready to go. I was sitting there
That
going,
feral
"Oh,
instinct."
come on. The baby crying is just like in my insides. I can feel my insides curling. Stop the
Excuse me.
baby crying. No, don't stop the baby crying.
Wait, it was your fault?
God.
You told them to?
It was my fault. I did this, guys.
You're a
I'm so
monster.
sorry.
wow. No wonder
And you
stopped.
couldn't finish the movie.
No.
They were your notes,
I'm
Bill.
done.
They were your notes.
Well, there you have it, the coffee table. I definitely recommend that you folks check it out. So, yeah, there we have it. Well, thank you.
We've exited spooky month, Omari.
Yeah. Thank you very much for bringing that in here. That is a banger of a film, one way or another. Yeah, we have exited spooky month, so
What are you doing next week?
that is a good question that we will answer when we get
Next
it.
week.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we will.
It's a surprise for you and me.
Yeah, in the meantime, you can check out some of our other things. We've even mentioned other videos that we've had Fluffles in on this channel with this show that comes on every Tuesday. On Mondays, we have the occasional show Mock Draft things from like random wrestling, fantasy wrestling, and or just random scenarios like Looney Tunes football teams and cereal mascots fighting to the death. Fun time. Also on Wednesdays, have a show with a good friend of mine, good friend of the channel, Super Jazz. We talk about it's called the Whatever We Want podcast. We talk about just that, whatever we want. And on Saturdays, Bill and I have a show called You Don't Watch Sports. 2 guys with 3 topics, help you sprinkle a little information into your sports conversation and be your guiding light through the seed that is casual sports talk. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at GioTavi. That is GIOTAVI. Come on in, stop on by. Fluffles, anything you want people to find you? Anything you want to shout out to say to folks?
The only sport I watch is football. And my team... Nope, upside down. It's garbage.
I mean...
All right. Well, you took us there. Should Tua get back on the field? If he wants to play, should he play?
My honest opinion on that is I think he should play out whatever the rest of the year means for him health-wise. And then I think he should retire. Spend the rest... Dude, you've made millions upon millions upon millions. Spend the rest of your life with your wife and kids.
Yeah.
I don't care what it means for our salary cap. I don't care what it means for our team. I don't care what it means for our head coach. I don't care. Every time you get hit and you go into a fencing position, as someone who has his own history with all of the head injuries, I don't care, dude. Go live your life. The issue is you have to be one of the most competitive people on the planet to be one of the best 32 people at the position of quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he is. He factually is.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be in his mind.
You don't become a number 1 overall pick without being competitive
Nope.
to some degree.
And without that hip injury, he was going 1 overall. And then he fell as far as 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far he fell. With a career-altering hip injury. He fell to 5.
I forgot that he fell to 5. I thought
He
was
fell to
number 1.
5. Yep. Joe Burrow went 1.
Oh.
Tua went 5. Herbert went 6. That was the plummet.
Since the creation of our sports show, we've always been Tua fans, Tua supporters.
Yeah.
I just don't know where
Dolphins fan.
I
born
never
and
want to
raised.
say that a grown man should be stood in front of and taken and a decision taken away from him.
Yeah, it's complicated,
but my gut feels like a doctor should step in front of him and say that this decision isn't yours anymore.
I mean, it still is his as long as it is his. And as someone who less than 2 years ago was kind of dying in a hospital bed in a coma, that's a fun story for another day. It is his decision. As long as it is medically his decision. But it has to medically be his decision. With no one in the NFL, no amount of NFL money or Roger Goodell money, or Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, or Dolphins GM Chris Greer, or our head coach Mike McDaniel, or Tua's own money. No one's money pulling the strings. It has to be his decision. Or, God, Tua's own family.
Yeah.
As a kid, Tua's father would beat him with a belt whenever he threw a pick. And Tua used to be right-handed. He was forced to throw left-handed. Tua went to college with Nick Saban. He knows what it means to grow up like under a tough upbringing. The man has infinite drive, and that's the thing that scares me. There might have to be someone that can tell him no. And I don't really want to watch him die on the field.
I don't know if I would hope nobody wants that.
I love Tua.
But what if he wants that?
Then
shit, man. I hope you get a ring before you do. And I hope it's in a Dolphins uniform.
And speaking of rings, I have said similar things about like wrestlers who I thought was gonna die in the ring type deal, where it's like I don't want to see someone literally die in the ring.
Hey, Taker, how you doing?
I don't want to see someone literally die in the ring, but end of the day, I guess if they do, that's their choice.
Yeah.
They lived and died how they wanted.
Yep.
And that's all I can really say about Tua. I hope he doesn't, but if he does, I respect it all the same.
All right, sorry to take it down this note.
Bill, you got anything you want to say to the folks?
Yeah, Bill, anything
As always,
happy?
Absolutely not.
All right.
And movies about dead babies.
All right. Well, that will be it for us. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much for
Thank you for having me. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.
See you on the other side.
Adios, this.